movement, and in travel, discover how a home swap holiday could work for your family. Plus, as Dublin and Mayo go head-to-head, Martin Breheny analyses the controversies and flashpoints that have shaped their rivalry. Irish Independent on Saturday. It's your weekend.
Listen up, class. Aldi's Play Rugby sticker promotion is back. Collect official Irish rugby stickers every time you spend €30 in Aldi. Fill your primary school's poster for a chance to win one of 2 €50,000 prizes or one of 10 €10,000 prizes for your school's playing facilities. Tomorrow, Japanese for beginners. Konnichiwa, kids.
Konnichiwa, sir.
Aldi, official supermarket of the IRFU. Full details at aldi.ie/playrugby. Promotion runs 10th of August to the 8th of November 2019.
Ovens might not be the first thing that springs to mind when you think shiny new appliances. But have you tried the Samsung Dual Cook Flex at Appliances Delivered? Oh my God, it's fabulous. It has a flexible hinge door, so I can use it as 2 separate ovens, or I can open it up into one big oven when hosting dinner parties for my many fabulous celeb friends. Plus, it's self-cleaning and energy-saving. Ha! And you thought ovens were boring. The Samsung built-in range available at appliancesdelivered.ie.
What about your man playing up front? He's on fire at the minute. Game will be over by half time.
Thanks, Mr. Taxi Man. But opinions nicked from sports radio won't help us hit the jackpot. The Hunch just picks the first 4 scorers in 4 selected games with Betway's 4 to score. Conversation over.
Heed your hunch with Betway's 4 to score for a weekly rollover jackpot. Selections must be submitted before the opening time of each scheduled round. Where there is more than one winner, main prize will be divided between winners. Full terms apply. 18+ Dunlewy.net.
The Off the Ball Open tees off in Abu Dhabi this November 17th to 23rd. Join us with return flights from Dublin, 5 nights in a 4-star hotel, golf on 2 championship courses, Gala Awards dinner, Peter Lorry Golf Clinic, and a live Off the Ball roadshow, all for just €1,750. Kevin Kilban and Kieran Donaghy will be there too. The Off the Ball Open, Abu Dhabi this November. Book by August 18th to avail of this early bird offer at CassidyTravel.ie. Deposit of €250 required. Terms and conditions apply.
You ain't shit! I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
Well, fans can be the harshest critics, you know.
And they often are.
A wife is often the harshest critic of her husband.
I thought I was invincible. That's what you're trained to believe as a sports person.
There was 4 million people in Ireland who knew much more about managing football teams than I did. When it comes to music, I can spoof with the best.
Your sporting career is the best time you'll have, and you know you have to hang on to it for as long as you like, because everything else is pretty crappy.
And this is not lies. Stephen Rothschild has never spoken to Jim McGuinness in his life.
And we have an all-star Saturday panel with you today, quite literally 3 all-stars in studio. 6-time All-Ireland winner Paul Flynn, Donegal's 2012 All-Ireland winning captain Michael Murphy, and 2010 All-Ireland football winner and current Cork hurler Aidan Walsh are all in studio this afternoon. How are we keeping, lads?
Very well, thank you. Good.
We're going to get into previewing the All-Ireland football semi-finals in a little while, but the reason we're here is because the GPA and the RSA have joined forces to promote road safety and highlight the dangers of driving while tired. The advice is to stop, sip, sleep, stop, park in a safe place, take a caffeine drink before a nap, and take a nap for 15 minutes, and then you can set off on your way again. For more information, log on to rsa.ie. Paul, you're Chief Executive of the GPA. What was the reasons behind this partnership? I guess it's fairly self-explanatory.
Yeah, well, look, you know, there's a couple of things to it. Like, you know, I suppose we've 3 main pillars: player representation, player welfare, and player development. And under player representation, you know, it's key to be promoting the players, but also for players to get involved in corporate social responsibility and initiatives like this. And the RSA do great work with regards to promoting positive behaviours and with regards to driving. And unfortunately, like, you know, it's too common that we hear about road accidents, and you know, I suppose it touched a nerve earlier the year when we had the unfortunate accident in Donegal, which I'm sure Mike will talk a little bit more about. And you know, and then I think there's a swell of support from players that want to get involved in, you know, activities like this. So it felt like a really good campaign. We've been in talks with RSA now for a couple of months, and instead of just doing it for like a once off, we said we'd do a 3-year collaboration, and delighted this is the first part of it. You know, it's really centred around the phone use while driving. We all know it's very prevalent, and in fact, like, you know, they had a simulator at the launch yesterday, and it shows like how much it impairs your your driving ability if you're on the phone. It's pretty obvious, but the simulator shows it, you know. So
because it's obviously no longer just people being on the phone making a call. It's being on Snapchat, sending a quick WhatsApp. There's many different ways people are on the phone when they're driving these days, particularly young men.
Yeah, well, and texting, you know, as well, like, is probably the most dangerous activity to do when you're on it, because you're concentrating so much on it and that. But no, it's a great partnership. We're delighted the guys in Road Safety Authority have some brilliant campaigns that they run up and down the country, and just for our players and the WGPA as well to get involved, to get behind it. We're not experts in road safety, but they are, and hopefully we can bring to it is a bit more exposure to what they're doing.
Michael, we were up in Guido doing a roadshow a few weeks ago, a club that was obviously massively touched by the tragedy earlier this year. Donegal, it always feels, is a hotspot for an initiative like this, an area they're really attempting to target.
Yeah, exactly. It's unfortunate to get over for the Cara area now that they overcame by tragedy on the road. Donegal, as you say, seems to get a touch as much as any county in the country. So yeah, listen, community is affected, and when it's a community such as close to you is affected, it hits a nerve that little bit more. So anything you can get involved in to try and, as I say, just bring attention to it. Listen, we're all no angels. We do things maybe we shouldn't do at times, but it's just to bring that little bit of education initiative. And I think with the RSA and them being there, they're doing a hell of a lot of education within the schools and everything, trying to just make people aware of the I suppose the added distractions that phone use does bring to it. And as I say, the more that can be done, as I say, hopefully the better education will help things like that, you know.
So rsa.ie is the place to go for more information, and obviously it's a 3-year partnership, so there'll be lots more to come from the GPA over the next little while. You three know each other very well. You were housemates. I was saying earlier, it must have been the most successful student house there has ever been. You shared a house in DCU?
Yeah.
And
that's all we're going to say about that.
It's hard to believe it was 6 years ago.
How long did you share a house for?
3 years.
Yeah, 3. We were four together, and then you were on for the year or two then. We had known before that, so yeah, it was good fun there. Plenty of terrible cooking skills, this man. You're always good for getting me up for a lecture or two, that kind of way. So it was, the fun was brilliant. It was good.
And I presume this wasn't just pot luck that you ended up in the same house. Was this elite footballers, DCU, making sure that you were all in the right environment?
Yeah, like in DCU, in fairness, what they did is for guys who were on scholarship, they didn't give any financial support. But what they did is they had other support. So all the inter-county players would live in the one spot, and it'd be subsidised to a certain degree. And you know, that created this like hive of energy, and you know, and a hive of training, and like I found it like so beneficial to me developing as a player. And I'd say when I went in there, I went in raw talent, and I came out then much more polished as a player. Because you're bouncing off these guys, you're learning from different counties. It's the beauty of college football, is the fact that you actually get a chance to play against guys that you usually play against. And I loved it because of that. But it stretches you. You know, you see what guys are doing. And it gives you a little bit of an insight, even though you don't know what they're doing collectively, but you can see individually. And
are you not chatting away as lads do, relax in the evening about what you are doing collectively?
You do, but you never let the guard down. I don't think there was a kind of like a secret thing there as much. You
just thrown a few things out there that mightn't be true to see if the Dubs pick up on it.
Yeah, you don't probe though. You wouldn't really probe too much, like, you know. But you would talk, like, you know, like we're spending like, you know, me and like Murph for 4 years spent like, you know, most of our days and together, like, you know, and same Aidan for the year. So of course you're going to be talking and sharing ideas and things like that. And like famously, I said this story before. When we were like, I remember to the day we were sitting in our dorm, like, you know, we were saying, will we ever win an All Ireland, like, you know? And it was in 2011, the start of that year, and in the next 2 years we both went on to do it. And I'll never forget in 2012 when we 3 of us won an All-Star and we're living together, you know. And we went down. Do you remember? We went down to Sam's barber and we got a hot tail shave. We went for a pint, and it was like. It was, you know, that was as cool as it got. Like, you know, we went down to the All-Stars together. Then the 3 of us, like, you know, went into the red carpet, you know, as a couple, you know. But it was funny.
Straight out of the dorm, eh?
Yeah.
No, it was brilliant. Some experience now, in fairness, like. just as you say, like to kind of to push on at times too. Like, you know, if you didn't maybe feel like going training, you didn't feel like going to the lecture, there's always somebody else to give you the kind of the nod to go out, to the nod to push out.
Especially for lads coming up from the country, because the college experience, it's so easy to get sidetracked, or it's so easy to skip a couple of lectures in the morning and stay in bed an extra hour, maybe go out a couple of nights you're not meant to be in that sort of environment, Aidan, where everybody's trying to push on, and in DCU I think you need to try and push on academically as well, in line with your footballing abilities, that while you're competitive in a certain way, actually it's in everybody's interest that you all push together.
Yeah, definitely. Like, even where we were leaving, like the first years on the bottom floor, second years on the second floor, and then the top floor then was like the fourth years and the older fellas. So like it was an ambition for fellas in first year. They knew, like, as they climbed up, as they went down through the years, that you would then everyone's look up to each other. Like, and like I remember, I suppose from September to December, we go crack between all the lads. But then after Christmas, then we went back into county training. Everyone kind of, like, as we were saying earlier, we kind of get our distance away from each other, like, or not as close as we used to be before Christmas, because we were back training and fellas be away a lot more. And but like, you'd still be watching when fellas are eating and all that, and even fellas going to college like that. Murph and Flynn were a few years ahead of me in college, but you could see what they were doing, what study they were doing, what time they were spending in the library and stuff, and so that's just huge. Flynn or more than Murph maybe in the library, but yeah, no, it was very good to see, and good learning experience.
You were the more academically minded, were you?
I just had to work harder. I wasn't as smart as Murphy, see. So, but it was like, you know, it's not actually, you know, like completely like unrelated to the RSA thing too, because I seen these guys driving up and down like from DCU to go back down county training, and that's happening like still. They did this, like, you know, there's like a third of the players now, inter-county players are students, but they're all in different, like, you know, they're obviously away from their county setups, and they go up and down twice a week, you know, and they're driving. I mean, we were only chatting there on the way in, like, you know. He was saying you get time you get home around 20 to 10 or whatever.
Yeah, 20 to 10. You're back. It's kind of always like 1 o'clock was the time you used to head back to Dublin, no matter how kind of lucky you were to get away from training in Donegal. But you did it. You loved it, like, you know.
So would you leave Donegal at 1 in the morning?
No, you'd be
trying to be back at
10.
Right, I'm trying to be back in Dublin for about 1.
You'd be back now.
I used to get the train down at 2 o'clock on a Thursday and get it back up then again for the last train at 10 o'clock on a Thursday night to be back up for 12:30. Yeah, so it was.
And were you then insanely jealous of these pampered Dublin footballers? Didn't have to travel anywhere. You're having to cook, learn to cook. These lads are getting their meals delivered morning, noon, and night.
We were. Well, you can test that that wasn't the case anyway, because we had to cook for one another every day. So. But no, it is like there's no doubt about it. Like, you know, the guys who are traveling up and down, it's some slog, like, you know. And you know, I know Donegal have a lot of players up on 13. Like Mayo have like half their squad who are based in Dublin and traveling up and down, you know, and putting in some serious miles. And
is there anything you can do about that in the GPA?
It like, I suppose because of the fact that contact hours are so important, right? So, for instance, like, if you would think that if you got a gym program, that it's okay, you can just perform that whatever suits you. But there's a thing called a training age, is whereby, you know, you build your training age year on year if you're with a coach when you do the session. So when you do it on your own, you don't build on your training age. And the coaches are mad keen to have players together for even gym sessions. And I think that's the area where there's an opportunity, where we have to figure out a way that gym sessions can be done locally, you know, because going up and down for a gym session, which is happening quite a lot, is unsustainable. And also,
so that could be the GPA or other organisations or county boards or whoever coming together, employing 3 or 4 highly specialised coaches who can actually take large groups of players in Cork or Dublin 1 night a week or 2 nights a week.
Yeah, and like, there's other options. Like, even if there's always small clusters too, right? So even if you had 3 or 4 guys, you could have an S&C coach there meeting up in wherever it's not just Dublin, like in Cork or wherever the city, you know, the local area is, to run these sessions. And they do it, like Donegal, like in the middle of the league now. Murph will tell you better than I, but they'll do one session in Dublin and one down, and we need to do more of that, because I have to say, like, you know, now in this role, I'd be worried when I wake up in the morning. Like, obviously, any fatality in the role is horrific, but I always be worrying that it's going to be an inter-county player coming back from training and in the middle of the night, and and that has happened before, you know, and in Tipperary. So like, you know, it is something that needs to be managed, because these guys are putting in some hours now. It's up on 31 hours a week, as the ESRI study said, but I think it's more, you know, and we need to manage that, but we need to support them too, that they can live a life off the pitch, you know.
Was the atmosphere always good in the house? So say 2011 semi-final, you're going back into college a couple of months later after Donegal played Dublin, are you just perfectly fine? It's all in the past?
Listen, come here, it was there, like any time we would have played against each other, like we can say like our game heads were on, like, and there was no quarter given, like. But now there's a respect there then, as I say, once you head back to college, a different environment, you need to get by in college, and you need to get by with cooking, you need to get by with lectures and that, so you were kind of nearly, I suppose, bouncing off one another in that regard, but frosty enough. I suppose during the college year, you were never really coming up against each other than the National League.
Yeah.
I remember going down, we played using the National League in Cork.
Yeah, stayed the night down, and we went out after, like, and like that. There was no, as you said, there was no quarter given during the game. There was good hard hits, but after the game,
drove back up the road then from Cork together. That kind of way. So it was like it was done like that.
Like it was like that. The respect we had was you go hard on the field, but once the final whistle went in, you're back to normal again.
Yeah, all three of you have always seemed, you know, very highly motivated and very interested in the game as well. But you've spent a lot of time talking about the skills of the game, the trends of the game, what certain counties are doing, you know, the word and who are good coaches around the place who are trying different things.
Yeah, you were the most tactical, I'd say.
I think we all were. You would, surely to God. You're looking for I think we're all looking for an edge. We're looking for a trend. What are they doing there? Obviously, Cork and Dublin, the two setups they have, two big cities. You would think, you know, we're bound to have things and people in place that potentially you could bring an edge back to Donegal. You're picking up on that, like, as much as you could, looking at programs or looking at what they're doing and what they're at. But yeah, no, we spoke football a lot. Sport a lot, really. Like, we were big. Like, it wasn't just the three of us. There was lads, you know, Gavin from Westmeath. There's Donegal from Common. You know, there's loads others there, and plenty of big FIFA battles. David Kelly from Sligo. Like, so it was. It was just a perfect environment. Like, you know.
Yeah, like that. Even when I spent 4 years down in Cork, and you kind of get in that bubble of, you meet people from Kerry, Tip, but when you go to Dublin, you meet people from all over the country, which was huge and really opened your eyes to a lot of more things. Like, and the discussions you'd have, and even though it was 6 years ago, it's a lot different now. The football's a lot different now than it was back then. Like, but
it was different. There was different ways of playing, evolving around that time we were in college. Kind of around that 2009, 10, 11 time. Obviously, there was started to begin the introduction of the blanket defence, and just there was coaches starting to come up with new philosophies, new ways of doing things. So you were seeing what maybe was Common or what Sligo or what Dublin or Cork were doing, and you were kind of nitpicking away and trying to piece it all together. So it definitely was brilliant to see, because obviously when you're in one place, you're in Donegal, you're in Dublin, you're Cork, you're only seeing that bubble. So getting to see outside of that and see what's going on in terms of training and new philosophies was definitely interesting.
You used to go out doing kicking drills together?
Yeah, I was only saying, like, there's a little 5-a-side pitch in DCU, and then like there was two goals, obviously, like, you know, there's like a little half kind of moon around each goal, and one would stand here, one would stand here, and we do like each of the kicks, you know, and we like, remember that, and
6 kicks.
We'd have to try and get like instep right, instep left, and punt outside right, outside left, and we do it all until we could get it. Like, you know, he was like way better than I was, but like,
so you couldn't go home until you got the 6 of them.
Well, we would have been there all night if they weren't on me, but like. But it's similarly, like, I remember standing out, and there's a field at the back of where we stayed, St Albert College field, and there's pitches and all out there, but there's no lights or anything like that. And I think you were with, maybe it was somebody else, but he was running, and he had these like just 2 cones, and like
I was going to mention that.
Runs, you know, and we were just watching you. I wasn't doing them, but I'd kick a ball all right, but not.
Yeah, I remember actually I was going to bring that up. I remember like we do. I did my own running session while I was in Dublin, but I had these eyes bearing down on me when I was doing my running session, so he's just I always remember that, actually, like, looking back at it. It was interesting.
Running, like, you know, so like, they're the things you see, and then you kind of.
There's motivation on every side there.
Yeah, there is. You're delighted he's doing the running, but deep down you're buggering as you go to do something.
You're raging. So you wouldn't do the running with him, but then you'd wake up next day early and you go out and do it yourself. But then you feel like you're behind a bit or something like that.
Did you make sure the lads knew you were out doing the running?
No, I didn't want them to let him know at all. I wanted to do it secretly, but they got out in it. I was going running.
Yeah, the big cave was fluorescent tops. And he did it in an area we could see it from the back of the house.
You were a big admirer of his kicking technique, was it?
Yeah, like still am. Like, you know, he's got such a, you know, kind of a lazy swing to it. It's just so controlled. It's you know, right or left. So they're the things you pick up, like, you know, and you learn from one another. Like, and there was a I wouldn't say there was a gym culture, but there was a real strength and conditioning culture there in DCU too. And there was guys there better than the three of us in the gym, and you'd be watching them, and you'd often hear, like, even in early morning, 6 a.m, you'd often hear, because it's a big dorm, you'd hear somebody leaving or someone out in the courtyard, and it'd be like one of the guys, whether it was us three or some of the other guys, heading down to the gym before lectures. Like, you know, that culture was kind of.
That's very different to most college dorms.
Yeah, well, it could have been somebody coming in.
Doors opening at 5 a.m, it's most definitely someone coming in.
Yeah. So, but that was there, like, you know.
Even alongside the J dorm, and then you're the athletics dorm alongside it, and you see the lads going running, and Joe, we would have thought we do hard training, but you see the athletics crowd, the runners, the train they were doing is frightening, like, and that would even motivate you to push on even harder. Like, you can think that J players have it tough, like, but you see other athletes that are training just as hard and even more, like, you know. It was all in the courtyard, like, we were all surrounding each other, like, it was crazy experience.
I know it is growing, that sort of connection between elite athletes and college and the educational side of it. I think there's still a long way to go, because it does just sound like such a brilliant environment for motivated young people. As you say, it's not just each other. You have all the different disciplines there, from athletics, you have soccer players there, I'm sure, as well. There's some rugby players around, that you can all learn a little bit off each other.
Yeah.
As long as you're pretty open-minded.
Yeah, and I was lucky to see the facilities in Boston College recently, and they invest so much under, like, high performance sport, but equally then it matriculates down to every student and a culture of just exercise, you know. And DCU, it was probably, like, you know, one of the top universities for that, where, like, all students would, you know, embrace, you know, that culture of sport, and just kind of, whether it's going for a run or a walk or whatever it is. But that's the power that, like, you know, sport can have on broad participation as well. So.
How do you describe your kicking technique? Like, are you very aware of what you're doing? Because even I was watching the game against Mayo last week, and not knowing you were going to be on, just watching you, and as you say, that sort of lazy swing, it just seems so effortless as you're bombing them over from 45 yards out.
Plenty of bad efforts last week, unfortunately. I don't know. It's something you play with, like.
Was that when you, if we were to look back at videos of you as a 10-year-old, did you kick the ball a very similar way, or is it something you've sat down, broken down?
Not really. Like, it's just like anything. Like, any of the two boys here either side is kicking the ball the same. There's just, I suppose, maybe visually some people just maybe maybe a nicer looking type kick, but who's to say it's more effective that kind of way? But listen, I'm sure they'll have the same stories. Like, you were just practice. Like we were just speaking about there. You used to come in from school, national school, whatever. It's the same old stories, bagging behind the door and outside, and a couple of old trees up the back, and you were kicking through them for hours upon hours upon hours on end, you know. And yeah, I kind of enjoyed it. Like, you enjoyed kicking, and you enjoyed, you know, technically looking at other people kicking and other sports even kicking. And
who would you have looked at?
Obviously the rugby fellas were the fellas that you would have. They seemed to put a little bit more method behind their kicking than most other sports. And, you know, obviously the main ones there were the Johnny Wilkinsons and the Dan Carters and everything, but they seem to have a real method and real technique behind it. But a lot of it too is it's important. I suppose you really have a regimented method. I think is important, and you don't lose the feel of it, you know. And the feel of just actually kicking and feeling the weather conditions, or feeling the grass, or feeling the wetness is important to not lose sight and track of that too, you know.
Do you find generally that at the end of the game you look back and go, you did stick to your method?
Times the kicks last week, like, are just going over and over and over the head now constantly, you know. Like, I suppose the two in particular, the ones that were kind of, they were farish enough out there around the 45, just thought with the one at the back was better to take from the hands, but looking back now, you probably, because obviously the outcome wasn't what you wanted, you maybe should have went to the deck, but you try and stick to method as much as possible in routine, because there's a certain comfort in routine. Do you know what I mean? You're not thinking about crowds or noise or anything else. You're thinking about your steps back, your steps.
Can you blank out the crowd?
I don't know if you blank it out. You concentrate on the routine. There's a rower coming in from the side.
Did you notice the guys walking behind? There was a great against Kerry when you took the penal.
No, I didn't. I seen it got sent on. I honestly didn't see it. I was bricking myself.
I was like,
this is all the stewards start walking behind the goal just as you're about to take the penalty kick.
No, I was literally bricking it. There was no time to see it.
You're fully aware of the importance of the moment.
Well, that's it. You just keep the feet, because it was slippy at that time. Wearing mouldy studs, and you're like, geez, make sure you stand on your feet.
We need to take a very quick ad break. We are going to get looking ahead to the All-Ireland semi-finals. Very quickly, though, we'll go to the London Stadium. West Ham, Manchester City. Guy Swindles.
West Ham 0, Manchester City 2. An eventful second half. First, Fornals has come on for his league debut for West Ham in place of Antonio. Then Manchester City, within 6 minutes, had gone 2-0 up. De Bruyne's wonderful run, and then flick to Sterling, who tucked home. Moments later, Sterling then set up Jesus, who tucked home. 3-0, we thought. But eventually VAR was called, and eventually Jesus was adjudged offside, which is why it remains West Ham 0, Manchester City 2.
Paul Flynn, Michael Murphy and Aidan Walsh are in studio with us for our Saturday panel. Quick break, and then we're looking ahead to the football semi-finals.
The Saturday panel on Off the Ball.
The Casey's Furniture Summer Sale ends soon. Don't miss the hot summer savings with up to 50% off all departments. Visit Casey's Cork and Limerick and shop online at caseys.ie.
Joe loves doubles. Joe has a double barrel surname. He goes double Dutch on double dates, and on those dates he wears double denim. Joe sleeps with a double down duvet by a double glazed window, and he has 2 fancy cars which he stores in his double garage. So Joe did a double take when we told him that we've launched a double quarter pounder with cheese.
Double lovers, get ready. The new McDonald's double quarter pounder with cheese is here. But only until the 24th of September, so get there on the double.
What about your man playing up front? He's on fire at the minute. Game be over by half time.
Thanks, Mr. Taxi Man, but opinions nicked from sports radio won't help us hit the jackpot. The hunch just picks the first 4 scorers in 4 selected games with Betway's 4 to score. Conversation over.
Heed your hunch with Betway's 4 to score for a weekly rollover jackpot. Selections must be submitted before the opening time of each scheduled round. Where there is more than one winner, main prize will be divided between winners. Full terms apply. 18+ Dunlewy.net.
At Power City, you can recycle your old electrical appliances free. To find out more, go online to powercity.ie or call in store today.
Enjoy your independent time this Saturday. How green is your town? In Weekend Magazine, we visit 2 villages working together to build a sustainable future. We try our hand at the growing make do and mend movement, and in travel, discover how a home swap holiday could work for your family. Plus, as Dublin and Mayo go head-to-head, Martin Breheny analyses the controversies and flashpoints that have shaped their rivalry. Irish Independent on Saturday. It's your weekend.
Listen up, class. Aldi's Play Rugby sticker promotion is back. Collect official Irish rugby stickers every time you spend €30 in Aldi. Fill your primary school's poster for a chance to win one of 2 €50,000 prizes or one of 10 €10,000 prizes for your school's playing facilities. Tomorrow, Japanese for beginners. Konnichiwa, kids.
Konnichiwa, sir.
Aldi, official supermarket of the IRFU. Full details at aldi.ie/playrugby. Promotion runs 10th of August to the 8th of November 2019.
Sign up to Air and get totally unlimited fibre broadband to enjoy all your gaming, movies and streaming. Plus, you'll get the Air Sport Pack free, the home of the Rugby World Cup in Ireland, and the only place to watch all 48 games live. Switch now and you'll get it all for an incredible $39.99 a month for a whole year. Call 1-800-500-300, go in store or visit air.ie. Air, let's make possible. New customers only, $59.99 a month thereafter, subject to availability. Air Sport Pack channels subject to change. User experience may vary. For full details and terms, see air.ie.
Across Ireland on 106 to 108 FM and at newstalk.com. This is Newstalk.
Good afternoon, I'm Adrian Harmon. Malaysian police say they're greatly concerned for the welfare of Nora Quarren as searches for the missing Irish teen continue into a 7th day. The 15-year-old, who has special needs, hasn't been seen since last Sunday when she disappeared from a resort near Kuala Lumpur. Gardaí have sent a liaison officer to Malaysia to help in the search operation, which has been praised by Nora's mother, Maeve. Speaking this morning on News Talk Breakfast, local journalist Beatrice Nita J says despite her family's talk of a possible abduction, Malaysian police aren't considering it.
They have ruled out the possibility of abduction. They believe that she has gone missing, so they still believe that perhaps maybe, because Nora is a child with special needs, so maybe she might be afraid of the noise and things like that. But it has been 7 days.
At least 57 people have been killed and 65 others injured after a fuel tanker exploded in Tanzania. It happened in the eastern town of Morogoro. It's understood the tanker had crashed and people were trying to siphon away petrol when it burst into flames. The cost of a package holiday is likely to rise as part of plans to better protect holidaymakers when travel agents go out of business. The increase is part of a recommendation by the Commission for Aviation Regulation, which says a small levy could boost a compensation fund for travellers if an operator goes bust. The body is proposing a charge of 0.1%, according to the Irish Examiner. And weather warnings in place for parts of the Midlands and North East today as heavy rain hits the country. Met Éireann's issued a yellow alert, which is in place until 10 o'clock tonight. It says spot flooding could be an issue with up to 40 millimetres of rainfall possible in places. Forecaster Liz Gavin outlines the affected counties.
We do have a yellow rainfall warning in operation for parts of the northeast of the country. That includes Longford, Louth, Westmeath, Meath, Cavan and Monaghan. So those areas today can expect to see some slow-moving bands of rain or heavy downpours today. And this possibly leading to some spot flooding.
That's all for now. More in an hour.
News Talk Weather.
Thanks to the AA. You'll find our lowest car insurance quotes online, guaranteed.
Heavy scattered showers today with a risk of some flooding. Thunderstorms also expected. Highest temperatures of 16 to 19 degrees. And now up to date on News Talk.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
You're very welcome back to our Saturday panel. We are here today with thanks to the GPA and the RSA who have joined forces to promote road safety. Check out rsa.ie. In studio, our former Dublin footballer Paul Flynn, Donegal's Michael Murphy and Cork's Aidan Walsh. Before we get into looking ahead, I suppose, Michael, we should look back. You'd much rather not be here today. Difficult week?
Horrible. I don't get any easier getting defeats. Just disappointed we didn't perform individually and collectively. Thought we'd had a consistency level of performance all year. We were playing fairly good stuff in every one of the games that we played. Obviously there's stuff you always needed to work upon, but we just didn't get near it against Mayo. Credit to Mayo, as I say, they came with the level of intensity and skill too that put us to the pin of the collar. And even at that, we still had chances in the second half to push on, but didn't be. And it just would have been a big shot for the team, to be getting preparing this week for an All Ireland semi. But it doesn't get any easier getting beat now.
How do you reflect on the year then, winning an Ulster Championship but not reaching an All Ireland semi-final?
Tricky. I suppose your immediate thoughts is this was a poor year. You look back upon it and get back to Division 1 was a big one for the young group that we had. It was important just to be hitting that level of playing that level of teams week in, week out. And then obviously, like we do say a lot, in Donegal we put a huge emphasis on the Ulster Provincial Championship and winning that, so it was good for the group again to win one of those. But I suppose the overriding feeling 2 years in the trot now, we were going into Super 8s in the last game. With all to play for to get through to another semi-final, two years in a row we've come up short. So definite mixture, but I still believe we're on the right road and on the right track. As difficult that is to say now, we haven't got beat, but no, we'll keep trucking.
So one of the dynamics ahead of this evening's game then between Mayo and Dublin is that Mayo are either battle hardened from having played 7 out of 8 weeks and the momentum of the victory against Donegal last week are they simply going to be shattered against the Dublin side, who either haven't had a test or actually are coming into this as fresh as can be? If you were playing this match today, if Donegal had won that, how wrecked would you have been with that 7-day turnaround?
We're speaking about it outside there, speaking to Aidan about it, and he's saying, like, the boys must be shattered, and honestly, it won't be in Mayo fellas' heads. Yes, they'll take a day or two to recover, but just the opportunity of an All-Ireland semi-final, especially a semi-final, with the thought of getting to a final, it just drives you to a level that you'll go to in any ordinary game,
Does it not become a factor 10 minutes left?
It could potentially do, but psychologically with the drive, 10 minutes left to get through to an All-Ireland final, if the game's in the balance, fatigue potentially could come in, but I just know psychologically in them boys' heads they'll be going to a different level if it's on the melting pot with 10 to go,
Did you ever feel when you were strolling through Leinster Championships that you were ever undercooked going into these sort of games?
I suppose I know people don't believe this sometimes, but the internal games were so competitive that that kind of, you felt that kept you sharp. And
I think people do believe it now, because all great teams have that they've such a depth of squad that of course you're going to be testing each other.
Yeah, and we did, and I always felt that they were great to have between the games, even if the game in Leinster was maybe one-sided. They always kept you sharp, but you really only need to be sharp in your own head, because if you believe you're sharp enough, then you really are. And I always felt that I used them internal games to make sure in my own head that I was going into them sharp.
What are you expecting today, Aidan?
Yeah, it's like that, talking more the lads outside. I just think, I suppose, that was such a physical game against Donegal last week for Mayo, and especially with the injuries they've picked up throughout the championship, and losing Jason Doherty, as well, who's been playing probably the best season he's had so far this year. He's a big loss from today, but like that, just Mayo always seem to be coming up when people think they're gone. They just always seem to have something extra, and I suppose in the last 5 or 6 years where Dublin have been dominant, I think Mayo probably have been the team that have always put it up to them. So it's very hard to look beyond Dublin today, to be honest, especially the way they were able to rest a lot of their key players last weekend due to it being a dead rubber game.
Was that the right thing to do?
It probably, it was, because just in case of injuries, and the depth of Dublin's panel is always good to, Dermot Connolly, Bernard Brogan all got runs last week, then they probably hadn't had much game time throughout the year, especially Dermot Connolly, and it was good for them. It was a good opportunity for them to get game time, especially if they get an opportunity today. They have a bit of game time under their belt, but yeah, it's very hard to look beyond Dublin, really. I just think it'll come down to the last 10 minutes. I think Mayo will stay with them. And they'll give him a right go for 60, 65 minutes. But I just think that Dublin's depth is just too good. And they just seem to even they seem to have players coming out of the woodwork the whole time, and I think that just will stand on today.
Mayo, their shooting last week, particularly in the first half, was well off. They were creating a lot of chances and not really taking them. Where were the areas where you felt that they made a lot of impact on Donegal, where you struggled?
Listen, I suppose the amount of turnovers we give ball away. We get turned over in possession quite a bit in that middle third, not even that defensive area.
And do you put that down to Donegal's sloppiness or the intensity that Mayo were coming at?
A mixture of both now. You couldn't put it down definitely just solely to our sloppiness. They brought a kind of a war of attrition in that middle third that we struggled to deal with in that area, that early part of the game, and give them a huge foothold into that and set a tone that they kept for the whole duration of the game. And that's what they've done, and that's what they'll more than likely target now again to Dublin today, and they've proven in the past that they can do that for a good period of a game. So they'll bring that to them without the ball. I suppose the challenge, I feel anyway, will come down to them with the ball, and will they? And I think they do have the ability to get scores on the board, but will they be able to consistently do it over the course of the 70? Is the big challenge I feel for Mayo,
So many of the games over the last 6-7 years, Paul, that you would have played in always just felt like they were absolute chaos to watch, and that attritional nature. And the Mayo went into these games with almost, I don't want to say reckless attitude, but that they were just going to put their bodies on the line no matter what. Did you feel that Mayo were different physically than other teams you went up against?
Yeah, like they really go at it, you know, they don't sit back. And I always felt that, like, when I came after my game against Mayo, I was shattered, you know, and like, you know, I'd be playing wing forward. If you don't tag a Mayo runner, they just get the overlap, and that's how they get a lot of their scores. So you always had to make sure that you either matched their work rate or outworked them. And that started with tagging their runners, because they could come from Higgins at the back, or it could be, like, I would have gone up against Vaughan a lot. And Vaughan, like, you know, just runs. Like, he literally just runs, and you just had to keep on tagging them. And that kind of, like, attritional nature that you're saying, that was there last week. That's what Mayo are all about. Like, and the reason why you miss some shots, because they bring you into this, like, kind of mist of, like, chaos, you know, and then you're not calm in your own striking of the ball. And I think if they can get the game to that type of game tonight, well, then they're in with a great chance. And, you know, I'd say Mayo, like, if it's around 16, 17 scores, you know, then they've a chance. If it's a shootout, I can see Dublin pulling away. And but they really, like, that's why, if the weather is poor, you know, it'll play well for that kind of messy type of attritional game, and I think that'll suit Mayo.
It must be immensely satisfying, though, that generally, even in mid that chaos and how difficult it was, that when it came to the last 10 minutes, Dublin were able to regain their composure, actually, despite everything that had gone on for the hour beforehand, that you did emerge with a clear head, it seemed, in those last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think we kind of goes back to something we were just chatting about. We were chatting earlier on, but like you get a winning mindset, don't you? Like, and when you get that, and if you can hold on to that, you know, it makes you very hard to beat as a team. And there was a couple of those games that Mayo, like, we all know, like, Mayo should have won, you know, and but, like, that mindset was there within the team. There was a culture of winning and not accepting anything less. And once like, that was always there, Mayo just found it hard just to kind of get over the line. But some battles, like, you know, through the years, and I just, like,
were they the toughest game you played?
Like, physically, you know, like, I knew when I played Mayo, I'd wake up the next day, maybe for 2 days, and I'd be really, like, struggling. And so yeah, they were always the most physically demanding.
Michael, you've obviously seen a lot of them as well over the last 7 or 8 years, with a lot of success also. From what you saw last Saturday, that physicality with an ageing group, is that any less than it was 2 years ago, 5, 6 years ago?
Definitely no less. Like, they're still bringing it. They still have a lot of bodies come back into the team. They kind of seem to pick up a few injuries in the middle part of that season after the National League, and they've all come back now. I suppose now losing Jason Doherty is definitely a loss to them, but no, they're still bringing it, and I think they are incredible. As I say, I go back and saying they're very, very accomplished without the ball, you know, in terms of their defensive nature, and they bring a level that very few teams do bring. And then it's just, to me, I keep coming back to it, it's just what they can bring to the game over the course of 70 with the ball. They have the weapons in the team, without a doubt, with Killian O'Connor, Andy Moore and are out, Kevin McLaughlin, and even the likes of Lee Keegan, Paddy Durkin coming from deep. They have the weapons to do it, and you just need to consistently, against Dublin, need to keep that scoreboard ticking every 2 to 3 minutes, because if you go a lull without a 10-minute score or without an 8-minute score, Dublin are going to tag on 2 to 3. That's the way they're playing at the moment. They're playing a very calm approach, a calm nature in the ball, where they're not really going to give it away, and they're going to work it onto a scoreable situation. So you need to match that score for score, and try and get the better of that, you know.
I always find it interesting how much respect other inter-county players seem to have for Andy Moore, and an appreciation of his importance for this Mayo team. Even at times, if he does kick a few wides, the amount of link-up play he does for the other forwards around him. How do Mayo use him today? Obviously, they seem to use him brilliantly off the bench, coming on after half an hour last week. A lot of people are saying they should go with the Peter Canavan trick, start him, take him off, and have him on again for the last 15 minutes. What's the best use of Andy Moore, Aidan?
Yeah, like, it's, you can just see that there yesterday. He's 35 years of age, and to see him the way he performed last day, so composed, like, just the experience is frightening. But like that, I suppose the game will come down to the last 10 minutes, I think, today, and like that's when you want your best players on the field, and maybe it probably would be the best option to have him coming into the game. And even for the Mayo supporters, he's a big part of Mayo GA, so seeing him come on would be a lift for the players and for the crowd. And like that, Pro Park will be absolutely jammed out the door today. Even hearing there during the week that there was a waiting list, some frightening waiting list for tickets for the match today. And that's just, the Mayo supporters absolutely just want to be there for the team. Like, and if they see a person like Andy Moore coming off the bench, that'll lift him and give him an extra 10-15%. So I definitely think that would be the best role for him. But like that, it's very hard to know. Like he's definitely worth 3 or 4 points to Mayo, and it's when is the best opportunity for that is hard to tell.
Darren Cohen's been an interesting player for Mayo this year, and that he's been around the squad for many years, but has kicked on and seems a very instinctive forward that he's going to shoot on sight, and maybe some days that works, and obviously last week it didn't work and he was taken off Randy Moore. With a player like that, actually, do you just start Darren Cohen and hope that it's an on day, and if it is, you give him the 70 minutes, but if not, you've Andy Moore sort of waiting in the wings for whichever one of the 6 forwards isn't performing?
Yeah, I think it's important that they finish strong, and they and James Horn will know that too, and he's very astute manager, and what he'll do is he'll set up a team at the start to maybe stay in the contest, and he'll definitely have finishers to come on that are going to be there and to take the right option when required at the end. And I think it's going to be interesting. We talk about if Connolly comes on, what the Dublin fans are going to do, but if Tom Parsons comes on today from Mayo, I don't the place will crumble, because that's some story and he'll get ruptures of applause from Dublin fans, everybody, the whole country.
Can he come on? You're 3 elite sportsmen, you'll have all had injuries of sorts, but as horrific an injury as he had, to come back having not played barely even club football for 15 months into an All-Ireland semi-final, is it realistic?
Yeah, I keep coming back to this All-Ireland semi-final, and them boys will be getting into it today. They'll be getting ready. There's a pre-match meal coming onto them now. The next 3 hours it'll just be mind over matter, and he'll be the exact same Tom Parsons than if it was Lee Keegan going into the game now, and he'll go to a place where he needs to get to in order to get Mayo over the line. The Andy Moore one, I think it's a funny one. I just do think you need to go with him from the off. I'd be probably disagreeing slightly with it, and I think you just need to throw everything at it, set the tone in the game, and do that. And Andy Moore does give you that. Darren Cohen obviously gives you a certain degree of it too, but Andy Moore has proven that he's there and do it, and has given Dublin handfuls in the past too. So I do think you start with him, you go with him, and you go at it from the start.
And you're not convinced on Tom Parsons?
No, I would be very convinced that he, in fairness, I met him there over Christmas down in Donegal, and just his whole attitude about the whole thing was very positive. And I just think he's a fella that, he knew, he straight away, everyone could see when it happened, you were thinking straight away, geez, he'll never play again, because it was so horrific. But in fairness to him, he's brought himself back, and as Paul has said, James Horan is very shrewd. He knows himself. If Tom's up to it, he'll get on and he'll get game time. And I know that if Tom does come on, he'll do a job, and he knows his limits and he knows what he has to do. And just by talking to him, you can see that he's a fella that would have worked extremely hard last. I suppose it's been 10 months now since he's done it, and he'll have himself right if he does get the opportunity.
But when you come back from injury, and he's been training, right? So if he's in the 26, he's been training well, and I always felt if I came back from injury, and especially long-term ones, you have this hunger that you cannot match, and you just want to play a game of football, right? And if I'd take the punt, it sometimes doesn't work out well, right? Because you're just too keen and you're a bit crazy on the ball, but sometimes it does work, and you end up just having these games where you just play off your instincts. You don't think about anything.
Weight moments. The weight moments.
Yeah, it's just. So I think it's worth the punt for the actual the roar and the crowd, and to maybe swing a momentum swing it could create. So I personally, I just love to see him play again.
We'll go across to the Aviva Stadium in a minute, where Italy are leading Ireland 5-0. 17 minutes gone. Ireland on the attack. We'll check in with Andy Dunn very shortly after Ireland go through these phases. Aidan O'Shea's probably having his best season in a Mayo jersey. I guess one of the reasons is that he's consistently playing in the middle of midfield. He's not been moved here, there, and everywhere. Last week, did you see a different Aidan O'Shea? Is he at a different level to previous?
I do think he's been playing really, really well all year. He seems to get highlighted quite a lot but I've yet to come across in the Donegal shirt anyway, that kind of way. I think he's playing at a huge level. Listen, he probably is playing more consistently in that middle third of the field, whereas maybe before has been tried in different locations. But he's a giant of a man. He's an absolute huge man. He's mobile. excellent tackler, really good tackler for such a big man.
Is it possible to describe what a Michael Murphy Aidan O'Shea collision is like?
I've got both. I've been on receipt of both of them, and I tell you, the both of them have this natural strength matched with now like a layer of conditioning from the gym. Like if only the three of us would have went against him at different times, because we would have been around the middle third. Like he's an absolute monster of a man, and he's so mobile, and he does get like good and bad press for, from the way he plays, but like he's always like one of the A players, the top players, for Mayo, and he's always a guy you need to stop if you're playing against him. And Dublin will definitely have him, marked as someone who we don't want to have an influence on the game. So
seems to be playing that wee bit deeper this year too. He seems to be really playing that from that defensive third up to the halfway line, and I think probably that, given that specific role to him, has definitely helped Mayo too, in terms of just he's consistently playing at that level, and good to understand too with Rob Henley at the kickouts too. They seem to really go with that last week. So, and Seamus O'Shea seems to be back and around, the two of them muck off each other fairly well,
Let's go to the Aviva. Andy Dunn is watching. Ireland have got a try, Andy.
Yeah, nicely worked try from Joey Carberry to put Ireland 7-5 in the lead after 19 and a half minutes. It was, I suppose, a nuanced little piece of play where Chris Farrell, who'd normally be a target man, stood in as first receiver and swept the ball behind a forward runner to Carberry. So they effectively swapped positions, quite clever, and Carberry ran in untouched. Italy had originally taken the lead from a driven line out where they had a number of mauls and a pick and go from Maxime Cana. So they were initially 5-0 in the lead. Ireland have come back to the lead at 7-5 after 20 minutes.
All right, thanks for that, Andy. Manchester City started the Premier League campaign with a 5-0 win at West Ham. There were late goals in that. A hat-trick in the end for Raheem Sterling, and one in there for Sergio Aguero and Gabriel Jesus. You got him in your fantasy football team? I left him off my fantasy football team. I knew it wasn't going to get any better than having the three Liverpool players in my team last night. So City, what a start for them. 5-0 win away at West Ham. Plenty of football chat to come throughout the afternoon. And in the ladies football quarter-final, it is Mayo 2-11, Armagh 1-11. Just around 10 minutes left in that game. From a Dublin point of view then, Paul, this time of the day, 2.5 hours ahead of throw-in, what are the players doing? What's the pre-match routine?
It's 3 o'clock kickoff. They're probably just arriving now to the hotel, the Gibson Hotel, where they meet up, and where they'll just get a bit of food and then just kind of, chill out, have little groups, talk to one another, and very relaxed. The work's done now, and they just kind of try and be as relaxed going onto the bus then down to Croke Park, probably around an hour's time or so, So.
It always seems with Dublin, very clinical, very methodical, very much setting your game plan, everybody very much assured of what's expected. Are there big emotional speeches before games?
Not really, no. Being honest with you, it's about kind of clarity of your role, and I think it's, I always found it very important for myself too. If you're ever not sure about what's expected of you, it's hard to do your best, and but they all have clarity on what their job is, and it won't be a big emotive roar or speech or anything like that. It'll be just making sure that everyone's tuned in. But there'll be a lot of energy, body energy. You'll be seeing around the group, a lot of gesturing, and it's funny when you see guys primed, ready to go. Sure, it's the same with any squad.
Who are the guys that are really on it? Who are wired?
Wired, James Mack is a great man. He doesn't say anything or much at all, but he's going around. He's just got so much energy. So I used to sit beside him on the bus, and for every game, and that remember one game, it was actually my first game back. I had back. It was last year after the back surgery, and I was sitting down the back. I just forgot where I sat. I was so giddy. I just got into the bus and sat down somewhere, and then they said everyone on the bus, and then Macker shouts, "No, Flynn's not on the bus. He's still in there," because he didn't know where I was. So I had to go down and move and sit beside him. So, but that's where he is. He's he's a real kind of player who has his rituals and stuff like that. And I love watching that with different people. Everyone has their own little rituals, And
bus is a big one now. You don't take anybody's seat in the bus now.
You all have your set seats for every match?
You wouldn't know.
Who do you sit beside?
I sit.
You're driving the bus.
Back seat. Neil McGee is in there in the corner. Frank McLennan's just ahead. It's funny, you just have a ritual.
And what do you like to do on the bus? Do you chat to the lads, or do you just have the headphones on, head down?
It's funny, I've kind of have changed over the last probably 3 to 4 years. Looking back, and I was just thinking about it during the week. It's funny what you think about after games, but I remember before games, just about really headphones on, and you were really trying to get the show on. And looking back, you're probably fucking hell way over hyped, or you're like it was an hour before the game, whereas now it's very their boss anyway. Listen, some of the boys put on the radio, but it's very chilled, and you're chatting really, and you chat about anything really going that kind of way. Could be anything, football, sport, non-related, that kind of way. Soon as it comes closer to the pitch and you start seeing the crowds and whatnot, players just automatically go that wee bit silent and get into their own wee bubble. But definitely a lot more chilled out in comparison to what it used to be, that kind of way, you know.
What about you, Aidan?
Yeah, like that as the years have gone on, kind of just trying to really soak it all in and enjoy it, because so when you get to our age, you don't know when your last game could be. So yeah, just trying wouldn't have the earphones in, just kind of chatting to lads and just talking about other things really than the match, really, because you're just so soaked in, or just so involved in the whole thing that you're just trying to relax and not get too wound up about it. But yeah, like as the years have gone on, kind of as Murph said, that you just kind of change your ways and kind of just get more relaxed and try and enjoy it, the whole thing, the whole build up to it more.
What sort of music would you have listened to? Was it motivational music? Was it
Daniel?
Speeches, yeah.
Stuff that you were absolutely buzzing with?
The Lumineers for you?
Lumineers, it's a big one. Literally anything was on shuffle. Anything could have come up, from old country songs to dance to anything, really. Anything could have come on it.
Diarmuid Connolly's in the 26th then. That was leaked out last night. The match programme is giving away all the secrets for all the teams these days. It was interesting watching that game against Tyrone, wondering, was this the perfect reintroduction? But in a way, he looked like a Rolls-Royce midfielder in there. He's just keeping it ticking over nicely. Last Sunday is going to be a world apart from what he's going to face tonight. The fact he's in the 26 obviously suggests that Jim Gavin will be intending to use him at some stage.
Well, anyone who's in the 26 with Jim is in contention to play, and like he's in one of his permutations of coming on. If this happens, he might come in. Or personally, I don't know whether he's going to play or not. You know.
Are you surprised he's back? From regardless of the going to America, not going to America, just from having been part of that squad, that someone had said they were going, was leaving, and just before what's essentially an All-Ireland quarter-final, he's back in.
Yeah, I probably would be surprised, more so if it was anybody else. I just know, I played a club game against Derrim a couple of weeks ago, and he played centre back, like a Rolls-Royce centre back, and he was fit, strong, fast, so good on the ball. And I was just like, he's the only probably person, not many even inter-county players in any county, who could just come back in, because he keeps himself so well, and he's look, it's about his skills and his game sense and his head, and that makes him such a great player. So I was surprised, like anybody was, but equally, I was actually happy to see it, and it was great to see him back in the panel in the fold.
We were down in Kerry last week, and the sense down there was that this was potentially a stumbling block for Dublin along the way, that he's taking somebody's place in the squad. So the likes of Bernard Brogan aren't in the 26, but Diarmuid Connolly hasn't been out there with everybody else all year. If this had happened in Donegal, if somebody just arrived back in 3 weeks beforehand, do you think there'd be questions in the dressing room?
It's not, a lot of it will come down to the results at the end of the day. Dublin going and win the All-Ireland, which is likely there'll be no word said. That kind of way. A lot of it will really come down to how the results ends up in the day. He'll be so well respected in the way players are. If he performs and performs to the level what he can do, there'll be absolutely no question to ask. If he gets on, he'll be getting on, I'm sure, on merit of how he's been training with Dublin. Going on the evidence of what you've seen from Dublin over the last number of years and under Jim Gavin, it doesn't tend to spring too many surprises. So it would be surprising to see him featuring. But at the end of the day, Diarmuid Connolly is one of the best footballers we've seen over the last number of years. And if he thinks Dublin can bring something to the Dublin team, which is why he's in the 26, he'll be in.
Do you think it suits Jim Gavin as well that we spent the last 10 days talking about Diarmuid Connolly and not 5 in a row?
I think it's like a distraction for taking away from what Dublin are all about. And people are more talking about Diarmuid than they are talking about the Dublin team, which is probably what Jim wanted. I think, looking at it myself. But as Murph said, he's an unbelievable talent. We all know, everyone in the country knows him. On his day, he's probably the best player in the country. What he can do with the ball, I was in the field playing against him and some of the stuff he was doing was just like, Christ, I mean, it's frightening some of the stuff he was able to do. Like, so if he can bring that today, if he gets an opportunity, you know, it'd be well worth it. Like, and like I can understand the whole aspect of could it cause friction within the group, him coming in sort of in the middle of the championship, but like that, any young fella knows or any fella that he is worth his place and what he can do on the pitch, and it's been a distraction. A good distraction for Dublin footballers, I think. Regards, it's just taking away from what Dublin football can actually do, and people aren't really talking about
the greatness of this team.
Yes,
There'll be plenty of time that you feel maybe in a few weeks' time. The potential matchups are going to be fascinating, but then you start breaking them down, you think there's only so much actually that Mayo can do. So Lee Keegan may end up back in Kieran Kilkenny again, but like Paul Mannion has done so much damage to Mayo down through the years. The season that Conor Callaghan is having, Jack McCaffrey's just playing out of this world. Whether, like, do Mayo sacrifice Paddy Durkin, do you expect, for Jack McCaffrey?
Yeah, that's the intriguing part. You can only guess these things. Like there's a couple of the Dublin guys who are just on fire at the moment, and you know, Con is one of them. As you said, the power of that guy, like, you know, and the skill.
Well, it's the power, like the transformation of him over the last 18 months is incredible.
Yeah, and like there's an argument like in the league he was nearly too big, you know, and now he's had to trim him down a little bit, and he's all strength. I actually remember one of his first training sessions, and he wasn't a big guy, and we were doing tackle box, and he hit me a shoulder, and I was like, that wasn't supposed to happen, because like, actually he rattled me, like, you know, and he wasn't big, but that showed he had the natural strength. So he's always had that. But Mannion's on fire. Like, if like you talk about your lazy strike, his strike off that left foot is just, you know, it's been like unbelievable today. If you give him a yard, but like, you know, I think Mayo are going to be thinking, yeah, there's matchups, but equally, like, you know, they just need to get that, you know, work rate going, get that intensity going, create the chaos. You know, that Dublin want to create like a nice calm and structured approach, but if they can just create chaos as much as they can, I think.
Think of the way Mayo play anyway. It's fairly man-to-man approach. Maybe you get a plus one from somewhere, you know, but so everybody will be treated as an out-and-out danger, as a threat, you know, that kind of way. Obviously, maybe you might have some people that are designed to mark others, but equally the people that maybe you haven't designed to mark, they'll be given every bit as much attention as the others, and that really helps Mayo insofar as the corner forwards or the wing forwards that are up there for Mayo will track their half backs as strongly as you would mark the inside forwards, and that's one of Mayo's key strengths of the game. So their approach will help in that regard.
Do you think it'd be interesting to see, because Horn, like when he was doing the commentary and all, he used to talk a lot about Dublin, you know, and he always had a feeling he had a really good insight into it. I'd say this is a big game for him because, you know, I mean, that's what I'm interested to see, how tactically he goes about this, and, you know, look, this is a huge game for him, I think. You know.
Stephen Rochford loved to pull a rabbit from the hat when it came to these games against Dublin. You'd wonder, is James Horn tempted to do something a little bit different?
He possibly couldn't. He's shown in the league. He's shown where he springs very, very much. He's a horses for courses, where there's a lot of players used, and players are used depending on the scenario or the game that's there. So, you know, he has a lot of players there that he's blooded through the squad in the league, and very, very much so. He'll be harsh for courses, not afraid to use any of his panel at all. You know, so you wouldn't be surprised at all for surprises on the Mayo team. You know,
predictions. Aidan?
It's hard luck being Dublin, to be honest, especially after Mayo playing 6 days ago, in my opinion.
Yeah, listen, I think we'd all be fools. I mean, what evidence have they to go by to say Dublin are going to get beat? You know, listen, Mayo have proven they can give it, and just put myself in a Mayo player's shoes at the moment, and you're absolutely just gunning for road, you know, now for the next couple of hours. But again, like, I mean, we're just foolish to look past Dublin at all, you know.
Yeah, because I think, and we're particularly guilty of it here at times, of falling into the romance and the story of Mayo, and it is a brilliant talking point so often, but this is just a clinical killing machine, this Dublin team right now. They don't care about that romance.
Yeah, no, and but the only I'd say is, like, you know, when there was the Meath game, for instance, was one for me in the first half where it was a messy game, and Dublin didn't play well, but Meath had an opportunity to really put them away. If Meath can get the game to be that kind of messy game, I think they've got a chance. If it's a shootout, you know, Dublin all day, you know. So
that's a sort of Dublin form of Kerry-Yera-ism.
Oh, what I just said. I'm not sitting on the fence. I think they will, win, but I'm hoping for a really good game, I suppose.
Yeah, lads, enjoy the game. We've been here today because the GPA and the RSA have joined forces to promote road safety and highlight the dangers of phone use in the car. Remember to switch off before you drive off, put the phone on silent on airplane mode, or simply put it out of reach in the boot. For more information, log on to rsa.ie. Paul Flynn, Michael Murphy, Aidan Walsh, thank you very much for coming in the studio. Enjoy the game.
Thanks very much.
Off the Ball on News Talk. Moncrief.
We were talking to Aaron. Aaron is one of the world's leading backwards runners, which is actually a sport. It's a thing. Maybe our bums are positioned at the back of us for this very reason. It's just taken us 200,000 years to learn that we were all destined to backwards run and make proper use of them. That could be one reason, but I would imagine there must be a reason why our eyes are in the front of our heads rather than the backs of our head.
Moncrief.
With the all-new Dacia Duster.
Weekdays from 2 p.m. on News Talk.
Relaxing afternoons with Harvey Norman. Transform your weekend lie-in with a brand new bed. Visit Harvey Norman today and rest easy. You're in safe hands with our sleep specialists.
Go, Harvey, go!
How could a KBC personal loan make a difference to you? Make a difference to your... Make a difference to your... Make a difference to your... Or make a difference to your... Apply for a personal loan with KBC to find out how we can make a difference to you and your pocket. KBC, the bank of you. Lending criteria, underwriting, terms and conditions apply. KBC Bank Ireland plc is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
What about your man playing up front? He's on fire at the minute. Game will be over by half time.
Thanks, Mr. Taxi Man, but opinions nicked from sports radio won't help us hit the jackpot. The hunch just picks the first 4 scorers in 4 selected games with Betway's 4 to score. Conversation over.
Heed your hunch with Betway's 4